pan-political group in support of the All Progressives Congress has called on the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari to showcase its achievements in the build-up to the general election. The group lent support to the party's presidential candidate Bola Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima. Senior correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
APC National Integrity Movement, ANIM, is a group of Nigerians desirous to sell the candidates of the All Progressive Congress to victory as the election dates draw closer. ANIM is at NEPAD to solicit its support and also prompt it to project the landmark achievements it has recorded since the emergence of the current administration.
We are going to face election by the grace of God in a few numbers of months from now. And APC has done a lot of activities. We have filled all our candidates across the nation. We have filled all the spaces. We are going into elections. So ANIM is promoting and make Nigerians to see reason why APC should remain in power even beyond 2023.
The group pledges its commitment to the realization of the presidential ambition of former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima. ANIM says it is determined to promote the legacy of the APC, the integrity of its leaders, as well as the credibility of the party and its candidates. The visit provides an opportunity for NEPAD to highlight some of its success stories. NEPAD Chief Executive is happy there is a movement desirous to promote the good works of the many agencies of government for Nigerians to understand its many efforts.
We're able to put our first plan, which is introducing the 4R. And what does that mean to us? To restructure, reposition, realign, and relaunch in line with the vision and the objective of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari.
She pledges support for the team while believing that APC remains the only viable political party that can tackle the troubles of Nigeria.
So NEPAD has been reformed under His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, and the national structures set from the national to state to local government. We have at the national level, we work with the public and private sector, we work with all the ministries. We re-establish the desk officers of the various ministries so that we can relate.
The group promises to reach out to as many government agencies as possible in the next few months so as to galvanize support for Bola Tinubu, Kashim Shettima, and numerous other candidates of the APC in the forthcoming general election. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
And to Enugu, where Coalition for Tinubu Shettima support groups from the 260 political wards in the state have re-emphasized the need for Nigerians to elect leaders with proven antecedent and not based on religion. The coalition made this assertion at the inauguration in Enugu. Babdili Ajayi reports.
Just like other parts of the country, the support base of the APC presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has continued to grow. In Enugu, southeast Nigeria, the Tinubu Shettima's campaign is gaining positive traction ahead of the poll. Recently, thousands of southeast women held a 1 million rally march in Owerri and were received by the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma. At the inauguration of these different support groups drawn from the 260 political wards in Enugu State, these grassroots supporters say they are ready to mobilize votes for all APC candidates in next year's election.
What a man has done before, from his police orderly to every person that worked with him over the years, everybody is a force to reckon with in Nigeria. You have a vice president, you have people in the media, you have captains of industry.
The convener of the meeting, who donated his house for the Tinubu Shettima's campaign, insists that the alleged same-face stance of APC presidential ticket will not discourage them from voting the right candidate for the job.
Christians, Muslims, African traditionalists, all rooting for Asiwaju Tinubu. They are looking for the leader of Nigeria, someone that can change the narrative, someone that can bring development to this country.
One year, who lamented the incessant attacks on members of his party, appealed to security operatives to unearth persons behind the dastardly act.
and they said it's unknown gunman. Up to now, it has not been solved. Now we have 2 young men again being gunned down in their youth. Whatever gunmen they are, if they are unknown, then unravel who they are. If it is political related, then stop it. Find those people and punish them. We can't keep having people being killed and nothing is done.
At the end, the APC stalwarts inaugurated support groups such as Asoji Women Cooperative Society, APC Youth Task Force for Tinubu, and others. Bamidele Ajayi, TVC News, Enugu.
And in Delta, thousands of university students staged a solidarity walk to drum support for the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, Vice Presidential candidate Ifeanyi Okowa in Warri. They say the party has robust plans for students and Nigerians. Ikenamichi reports.
In yellow t-shirts, these university students took time off studies from the state universities who were not among the strike to show their support for Atiku Okowa ticket.
With looking at all the presidential candidates, we saw that it is Atiku that have the mindset to reorganize Nigeria. That is why he came out with the agenda of rescue, reset, and rebuild. So that is the reason why Delta State students have decided to support Atiku because of our own father, the person of a Kweme of the universe, His Excellency Dr. Ato Ifeanyi Okowa.
As students, as youths, we feel they will carry us along, and it's obvious that they have the interest of youth, especially at heart. Okowa has been creating jobs for youth.
Chanting solidarity songs and dancing, the students moved from Efrun roundabout to Japa Junction and Route NRA Junction, their termination point as they want the people of Efrun and Warri to vote for Atiku Okowa and Sheriff Oboro Warri come next year's election as they possess the right leadership qualities.
The most three presidential aspirants we've seen in the past, they have led this country in their various states, and what they have in stock for us, their antecedents and track record, that of Atiku Abubakar is eminent to Nigerian students. Why here is the state, why we need to root out our support for Right Honorable Sheriff Oboro is for continuity. Governance is continuity.
What you are seeing here is a testament that the Delta State students are solidly articulated and sherified. They articulate for the PDP candidate, His Excellency, the former Vice President of this country, Atiku Abubakar, and they're also saying that in this state, they are sherified.
The reason why I would want us to vote for Sheriff is because I believe Sheriff is the only person as it stands who would follow the precedents of Okowa. While he was Speaker, he has this scholarship program for students. He's an accessible person. He's a person whom you can meet at any given time.
Clearly, next year's election will be decided majorly by young people who make a large portion of the voting populace, according to data from the Independent National Electoral Commission, which makes this support vital for the opposition party. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Warri.
The Lagos State High Court has now granted bail to former Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice Olasupo Sashere to the tune of 50 million naira with one surety in like sum over money laundering allegations. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commissioner arraigned Mr. Sashere over money laundering allegations totaling more than $200,000 US. We have details in this report.
The EFCC's legal team was led by its prosecutor, Bala Zanga, while 4 senior advocates of Nigeria appeared for the defendant. They are Yemi Candid Johnson, Dr. Muiz Banire, Shegun Ajibola, and Chijoke Okoli. After the arraignment, the defendant, through his counsel, then applied for bail on liberal terms or on self-recognizance, arguing that Mr. Sashere isn't a flight risk and that the alleged offenses are bailable. The FCC, on its part, didn't object to the bail application. The defendant was alleged to have induced one Olu Folakemi Adelore in accepting cash payment of $100,000 without going through a financial institution. He was also alleged to have made the cash payment to Ms. Adelore through 2 persons, Awalu Habu and Wole Abodiri. The senior lawyer also allegedly made another cash payment of 100,000 naira to one Ikechukwu Ogwene without going through a financial institution. Mr. Sashere allegedly made the questionable payments of 100,000 naira each to Ms. Adelore and Mr. Goine, who served as lawyers for the Nigerian Petroleum Ministry and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation at the time. The senior advocate of Nigeria, who was the Lagos State Attorney General and Justice Commissioner during former Governor Babatunde Fashola's administration, was said to have committed the alleged offences on or about November the 18th, 2014. In his ruling, Justice Aneke granted the defendant bail in the sum of 50 million naira and he is to provide a surety in like sum. Justice Aneke also ordered that Mr. Shashuri SAN's surety must be a serving director or permanent secretary at the Lagos State Civil Service. The court also ordered that the defendant deposits his traveling passport with its registrar, and the court granted the request of the defense legal team that he be handed over to his 4 leading senior counsel representing him in this trial. Further hearing continues on November the 24th. Kemi Foladeyemo, TVC News, Lagos.
In the second half, with the memorials procession at the Lekki Toll Gate today, where protesters gathered to mark the second anniversary of the EndSARS protest that almost crumbled commercial activities in Lagos. And while marking the day, the police fired tear gas at the Lekki Toll Gate to disperse the protesters who were threatening to breach the peace in the area. Theophilus Elama reports.
These are protesters in their vehicles, blaring horns in solidarity with the agitation that characterized the EndSARS protest 2 years ago. And police personnel are stationed at strategic points to ensure peace as the people began to gather and move in procession. When it was time, the youths gathered to voice their anger by calling on everyone to remember those who allegedly died 2 years ago.
Wait! Justice! Justice! They're not protecting everyone. They did that for us, not for the country. Justice! All we are asking for is justice. That's what we want. That's why we're there. And of course, to honor those that have died, letting them know that we will never forget. This date in Nigeria's history, no bagger can erase it. We will always remember. Are you worried for justice? Because justice has not been done. Those people that committed those gruesome crimes on October 20, 2020 have not been punished. Nobody has been brought to book. Why? Because they continue to deny, or let me say attempt to deny that these things happen, and that's the problem.
The horn blaring procession was supposed to hold between the hours of 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. But as time wound down, the procession was interrupted as police began to throw tear gas and hot water pepper spray on some protesters and journalists. So, everyone scampered for safety.
I never took anything from anybody. So what have I done? What is that? They took my phone, they picked me up. My nose is bleeding. What have I done?
The Lekki Toll Gate has served as a rallying point for EndSARS protesters who come here every year to commemorate the day. These youths say they hope that someday justice will prevail. Theophilus Elama, TVC News, Lagos.
Senior pastor of Trinity House, Itwai Godalo, says the events of EndSARS cannot be wished away in a hurry, since it's an indication that government must address the yearnings of young people in the country. He stated this at the 10th annual lecture of Bishop Kola Onolapo Memorial Lecture Series, which he held in Lagos.
The Julius Major Hall, University of Lagos venue of the lecture was filled with guests. With 2023 general election around the corner, The theme was apt, and that is transforming the Nigerian politics, perspective and insights. The chairman of the occasion is Pastor Itwa Igudalo. He says Nigerians must take active part in the forthcoming election.
We must all have our PVCs, we must all vote. My own is that vote for the person that you think is most competent. There are 15 of them. Look for the one. Doesn't matter if you think your vote won't count. If it doesn't count today, it will count tomorrow. Assess them and assess who they really are. And then look for who you think will do the best for the generality of Nigeria.
We are dealing with problems of ethnicity, religious perversion, extremism, corruption.
That's how the guest speaker, Bishop of Diocese of Ilesha, will rather start his lecture. According to him, Nigeria is in a state of anarchy and something urgent must be done.
There is a need to call another national conference to restructure Nigeria. Within this process, the salaries of legislators should be slashed drastically. The tenure of legislators should not be open-ended. Let them also have a single term of 5 years and get out. People who have served as governors should be prevented from transiting to the Senate or the House of Representatives until they have spent no less than 4 years after leaving their initial office.
They need to give younger generation an opportunity to serve, and the significance of the EndSARS movement was also addressed.
The reasons why countries move forward is that their youth push the needle forward. Nobody gives you power. Power is only given to those who show up.
I salute those youth. I salute their courage. I salute their organization. But spiritually, they also offered themselves, like Jesus Christ, to be slain on the grounds of Nigeria. And God has decided that there must be a change in Nigeria. And there will be a change. Nigeria belongs to all of us.
They called on the church to unite and lead, as they have the numbers that could cause a positive change in the country. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
In Niger State, partners in the Connected Learning for Teacher Capacity Building in Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics from India, Tanzania and Nigeria have converged in IBB University. They are to evaluate the progress of STEM projects across secondary schools in the partnering countries. Chenabe Bamae reports.
The Connected Learning Initiative was developed and implemented as an innovation to address quality of secondary education in India. It was to assist newly qualified teachers to teach science, technology, engineering and mathematics in schools.
Example in secondary schools is largely driven by chalk and talk method. So the teacher explains the theories in physics, teacher explains the important concepts that are there in the textbook. But beyond that, physics provides a lot of opportunities for exploring, for finding things out, for experimenting. These resources are generally lacking in many schools in India and Nigeria as well.
And what actually they know now as we speak. So we hope as we continue with the project, because we are still going on with the project, we hope that this intervention might change the way our teachers can be able to provide to teach.
Whatever you're teaching, trigonometry or whatever, you have a lot of resources that are loaded in the media you are using. So this is not a question of I lack teaching aids or I don't know how to practically show it. Everything is, loaded.
The initiative is now being introduced into countries such as Bhutan, Nigeria and Tanzania through a South-South collaboration of higher education institutions engaged in teacher education. The goal is to equip teachers for the challenges of the century and consider the context in which the technology is used. The first stage of the initiative is knowledge transfer. The next phase is the implementation of this innovation, which has commenced since mid-2022. The Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University Lapai is the lead partner of the consortium implementing the initiative in Africa and Asia.
So I'm sure by the time we combine this particular module with that, with the virtual laboratory, we are going to have a complete learning exercise. And I'm sure even the staff will welcome the development because it's something that's going to be easy and is seamless.
The goal of this training is to help teachers to create a more interactive environment, especially in science and technology classrooms, to inspire creativity and innovation in their students. Chanami Bami, TVC News, Lapai, Niger State.
And the Nasarawa state government has commenced the training of 100 graduate youths in employability and entrepreneurship skills. The training, which will run for 3 weeks, is aimed at making the select groups young people self-reliant and employable. Godwin Agua reports.
Graduate youths of Nasarawa State take turns to register their participation for the 2022 Entrepreneurship and Employability Training. It's the third in a series within the last 3 years. The training is a brainchild of the Human Capital Development Office of the state government. It is targeted at equipping the beneficiaries with the requisite skills to be employable and self-reliant and reduce overdependence on white-collar jobs. This year, 100 graduate youths are benefiting from the scheme.
Generally, it centers on the development of SNS as well. You know, it teaches about work etiquette and all of that. So we're hoping that the first thing we're able to achieve after this training program is a change of mindset. And then, of course, we are hoping that they should be able to pick up, you know, some items, some skills that would enhance their productivity in either business or their workplaces.
The core of this training is on employability, which is soft skills, and entrepreneurship, right, which will also help them to start their businesses. So from the soft skills part, they're going to be starting with self-awareness, discovering their self, goal settings, work ethics, how to manage their relationship, work relationship, team building, time management, and a lot of other courses like that.
The trainees are hopeful that the training would improve their capacity to be self-reliant and employable.
I went to school and I graduated, but I'm not skillful in anything. And I believe white-collar job is something that cannot be enough for all of us. It pains me that I cannot do anything. I'm not a tailor. And I don't have anything to do with my own hands. And I feel, let me try this one. I don't know what God has for me in store. I just want to be skillful. I just want to learn something I can do, you know, my own self.
That when I have the knowledge, I would love to impact on others. And when I have the knowledge, I would love to, you know, put it in practice personally and then collectively in a team.
Trainees who successfully obtain certification stand a chance to benefit from the Youth Revolving Fund scheme and a job fair, both initiated by the state government. Godwin Agwam, TVC News, Lafia.
That's Nigeria Today. Join me again at 10 p.m. for more stories. Stay with TVC.